Dual band tape measure Yagi build, cutting the tape measure and making the ends safe. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So, I've got a couple of tape measures in front of me here because we're about to start the journey of me building another tape measure Yagi. This one will be dual band, so I can use it with the amateur radio satellites, including the repeater on board the International Space Station, although it would probably find use in contesting when I'm operating portable as well, but that's not going to be for a while because I obviously don't have a vehicle at this time. So this one came from Poundland, which is the one I'm going to cut up. I am not cutting up this Stanley one. I like this Stanley one. It's one of my better ones. They're both the same sort of length. They're 5 meters. Now I could pull out the tape measure and cut it to length by doing that, but there is a risk that it will retract back inside there and then I'd have to take it apart anyway. So let's start taking that apart. So we need a screwdriver for that. I've got a couple on the table in front of me. So it's a Phillips or Posi drive. I think it's Phillips, this one actually. Although I think I'm using a Posi drive screwdriver. Let's check that. It doesn't matter as I'm taking this thing apart anyway. That's actually a Phillips screwdriver. Surprisingly enough, it's a Phillips screw and I'm using the right screwdriver. It's okay. Let's start taking things out then. So let's get this belt clip off first. So that can come off and I can just undo that by hand. There we go. So that leaves us with a tape measure looking like that. The next thing to do is take out these two bottom screws. Now, I'm going to be careful because it is a tape measure and it's going to be quite springy in there. So I don't know whether it's all just going to explosively spring out or what it's going to do. The last time I took one of these apart, it wasn't so bad. So these two screws in the bottom, the Stanley tape measure here, exactly the same place. But like I say, we're not taking that one apart because that's a good tape measure. So it's a prominent brand. Whereas this is just a cheap one from Poundland. You could get cheap ones from anywhere other than Poundland. But I got this from Poundland because I got the last one from Poundland actually, but I think that's actually a slightly wider tape measure. So we'll put these screws to one side. If you do want to put it back together, I've noticed that one of those screws is longer than the other. There might be a reason for that. So I'm just going to put the screwdriver down now, and this is where I'm hoping that it doesn't just spring everywhere. And it hasn't. And that's what's inside the tape measure. So you've got the tape measure itself on this reel, and got the mechanism that locks it off. That will come out because we don't actually need that. And then if I'm gentle, this should all just come out unless there's another screw holding it in that I don't know about. There's another bit of plastic there that I've spotted as well. Yeah, this is still held in quite well. And yeah, the spring is, yes, there is a spring in there. And it's trying to unspring. There we go. I don't know where that spring is, but it was trying to unspring. Which it's now trying to unroll anyway on the reel. I'm not really doing a lot here and it's already trying to uncoil. So that's now out. I'm going to put it on the floor and it'll probably just try and unroll itself, which it actually has done. So the next thing I need to do is cut that, and I don't actually have tin snips, but I do have some really sizable side cutters that should go through that. So I'm going to chop that up off camera and I'll tell you the lengths that I've chopped it up to. So I'll catch you when I've done that, and hopefully I've not cut my fingers in the process. Okay, so there's a little bit of the tape measure left over, as you can just see at the top of the screen there. That's how much was left over, so a 5 meter tape measure was perfectly sufficient for what I wanted to do. The two white tubes are what I'm proposing to use as the boom, at least one of them. The top tube's got 3 black objects on it. They're 3D printed standoffs, which will be necessary to support the tape measure. The dimensions I managed to find for this came off a page on Instructables. I'll pop a link to that in the description below, but the boom they use is a slightly different boom. So the reflector on the 2 meter side came in at 41.4 inches. The two driven elements are 17.75 inches. And the director at the front of that was 35.4 inches. And I don't work very well in inches, so I did have to convert some of that to meters and centimeters, and you can see where this is going. For the 70 side, the reflector is 13 inches. The driven elements are 6.2 inches each. That would be these, although they do actually look like they're not quite the same length, but let's check them. They are more or less the same length. They will be getting tweaked anyway during the tuning. So the first director ahead of the driven elements was 12.24 inches. The next one was 12.12 inches. And finally after that, the third one was 12.04 inches. So that's basically it. So all it leaves me to do is, well, apart from stick something over the ends of those tape measure parts, which I'm going to do in the morning because it's 8:30 at night and I'm not running power tools at this time of night, because I might need my heat gun, I don't know yet. Put something over the ends of those just to stop me cutting my fingers on them, because that tape measure will now have very sharp ends. I mean, it's not so bad at the end that I've took out the tape measure itself, but on the ends where I've cut it, I'm not sure how well you can see this, it will be very, very sharp. So I don't want to be doing anything with it until I know I'm not going to cut my fingers off. It's going to be difficult with the driven elements because I need to be able to connect the coax and hairpin match to those, because they will require that. So that's as far as I've got for tonight. I'll pick this up and conclude this part in the morning, and then I'll wait for the rest of the items I need to be ready to start assembling this. So I'll catch you in the morning. Okay, so we're on to the next day. It was supposed to be morning when I filmed this, but it turned out to be, well, early afternoon. It's 20 to 1. As you can see, all of the elements, bar 4 of them, have got heat shrink on either ends of them. I've not shrunk that down yet because I've not gone to get the heat gun. And the reason for the heat shrink on the end is to cover up the sharp ends so you don't get cut by these elements, because that is the last thing you would want. I could use electrical tape, but the electrical tape I want to use, I don't actually know where that is. That's the green and yellow earth type tape, because it kind of goes with the yellow tape measure. So I'm going to get the heat gun and I'm going to shrink all that lot down, and then we can move on to the next bit. I'm going to do that off camera because the heat gun is quite noisy. Okay, so that's the heat shrink done. We've got, I'll bring one of the ends in actually. I'll show you what I've actually done. So I've shrunk the heat shrink down. Will that focus on that? Kind of doesn't want to. This camera's never been good with focus. But you can see what I've done. You can get the gist of it there. There we go, it's focused on my hand a bit there so you can actually see that. So I shrunk the heat shrink down and then squeezed this open end down with a pair of pliers. I've done that with all of them. So that keeps the sharp ends away from anybody. The only ones I haven't had it done on both ends are the 2 driven elements. So that would be those 2 there and those 2 shorter ones there. So that's all done. So I'm now waiting for the rest of the stuff to arrive for me to do the rest of it. So if you like my videos, then you can give this one a thumbs up if you like this one. And you can also subscribe to the channel to be notified if I upload anything else, just don't forget to ring the bell first. A video will pop up on the screen momentarily that the algorithm thinks you'll like. And you can also chip in a bit towards the channel with a super thanks if you really like what I do. Or you can buy me a coffee. All goes to help support the channel. And you can also become a member of the channel to get early access videos as well. Not all videos are early access. Some of them are, some of them aren't. This one is straight to you guys because it's an antenna build and I think you might find it quite useful. So I will catch you in the next part of this, and I will also catch you in the next video, whichever comes first. So 7-3 for now, and yeah, I will definitely catch you in the next one.